the Coca-Cola, we'll use that example. What's happening is that your blood sugar levels skyrocket. They're going high, and that's where the insulin gets released. You get that really good feeling when you have a chocolate bar and you're on top of the world for a few seconds, a few minutes, and then it starts to die off and you start feeling tired, you start craving, you get mood swings, you get angry, and then you crave it again because you know it's going to pick you up. Unfortunately, this is the cycle of the sugar addiction. It's blurry on here, I'm sorry. Actually, it's pretty better than that. So, like I said, you eat your sugar, the blood sugar levels spike, the blood sugar levels fall rapidly, and that's where you start feeling hungry and all of those symptoms mentioned. And you get the sugar craving back again. So it's very hard to tell yourself, I used to tell myself, okay, on the weekend I can have a treat and I can go and have ice cream on a Sunday night as much as I want because I didn't eat it all week. The problem there is I go back into the week and my body has recognised that was the sugar and it's going to start craving it again. So yes, I can wait till the next Sunday, but it's not doing my body any good trying to actually come off this drug. They're calling sugar a toxin because of the damage it's doing to our body. So, fructose. It can only be processed by the liver. As I mentioned, with glucose it can be converted to glycogen, which is stored in your muscles for later use. The fructose doesn't do that. It goes straight to your liver, and I think Robert Lustig said 30% of that turns into fat from fructose, and that is your added sugars, the fructose. Everything that the sugar hits your liver all at the same time, and so you can imagine the strain that your organ has on it just from eating sugar, nothing else, no exercise, nothing, just the fact of the sugar. What happens is when the liver is breaking down the fructose, you get the formation of triglycerides, which are fat, which can be stored in your liver. You get uric acid and free radicals developing as well. The fat, as mentioned, can build up in your liver, and that's where we can get diseases. One is known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which we're going to touch on how alcohol and fructose are basically the same thing. They're doing the same thing to your body. Free radicals can damage cell structures, enzymes, and even genes. Why is it harmful? As I mentioned, it puts a lot of strain on your liver and it can cause the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It does not suppress the hunger hormone ghrelin. So if you're not suppressing that hormone, your body is constantly thinking that you're not getting the food it needs, so you're still hungry. Just like that for the second video, that's why we're eating more. The more you try and get your craving by having a chocolate muffin and you feel okay for a few minutes, maybe even an hour if you're lucky, but then you're hungry again. Whereas if you were to have a decent meal or a proper snack, your energy will last a lot longer and you shouldn't be hungry straight away. But the fact is that it's not satisfying the ghrelin hormone. It increases, as mentioned, the production of uric acid. And uric acid is in relation to illnesses such as hypertension and gout. So we want to avoid those. Tooth decay, that's been a big one about how much sugar, especially our kids are having. The sugar feeds the harmful bacteria on your teeth. So when you're eating the sugar, what's going on in your mouth, obviously you've got no control over the way that the enzymes react. That's where we're getting tooth decay from the sugar. Insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes is what we've touched on with the video. The more you eat, and especially the more processed sugars that you're eating, that's where these types of diseases are going to, not necessarily going to happen, but that's what the studies have said, that you are significantly increasing the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Excuse me. Cancer, which has been a big thing recently. The World Health Organization and the World Cancer Research Fund have recommended that we avoid, if not completely eliminate, sweetened beverages because of that. The Coke that I showed you, the Red Bull with the sugar content. they're saying that because the sugar can cause cancer, because cancer is caused by the uncontrollable growth and multiplication of cells. The insulin is one of the main hormones for regulating these type of cells, this type of growth. Sorry. So it's believed that due to constantly high levels of your blood glucose level and your insulin coming up, that can then put you at risk of developing cancers. I haven't seen it, but I've heard that the Cancer Council was starting to talk about sugar in relation to prevention of cancer. And the other thing that they really stress is obviously the greater sugar intake you have, generally, the more weight you're going to put on, and obesity is a risk factor for cancer as well. So that one stood out to me. I just think that's a big thing to be able to prevent or try to prevent through your diet is investing in it. Addictive, I showed you the cycle. Trying to reduce is a good way to try and come off the sugar, or to completely eliminate. It will be hard for the first maybe 2 to 3 weeks, but once you get off the cycle, I can tell you it's so much easier than trying to cut back on it, because the body's still getting that sugar, it's still craving. And lastly, it increases cholesterol and increases your risk of cardiovascular disease. The reason is because it's been proven to raise your triglycerides, your fat levels, your insulin levels. It lowers your lowers your HDL, which is your good cholesterol, and it produces and increases your LDL, which is the bad cholesterol linked to heart disease. On that note, I wanted to show you a video from Robert Lustig on why the big controversy about it's the saturated fats in our diet, it's the high fat diet that are giving us cardiovascular disease, when he sums it up quite nicely that it's not the high fat that we're eating, it's the high sugar that everybody's missing. It's the low fat products that are advertised that are pumped with sugar for flavour, and we go out. It's not our fault. That's how it's been advertised. That's the healthy option. So I'll just grab this one up for you.
But you don't think twice about giving your kid a can of Coke.
Oh, that was
a bit of a scene.
That was a quote.
Putting into motion as terms of what happens that's bad. Okay? Bottom line, no difference. So, we have something called beer belly. Well, welcome to soda belly. Because that's what America is suffering from. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's what it is. Okay? Now, you wouldn't think twice about not giving your kid a Budweiser. But you don't think twice about giving your kid a can of Coke. But they're the same. In the same dosing, for the same reason, through the same mechanism. Fructose is ethanol without the buzz. So, fructose is a carbohydrate, yes, it is. But fructose is metabolized like a fat. And I've just shown you that 30% of any ingested fructose load ends up as fat. Okay, so when people talk about high-fat diets doing bad things, no, what they're really talking about is high fructose diets. And that's what Ansel Keys was looking at. So the corollary to that is, in America at least, and around the world too, a low-fat diet isn't really a low-fat diet. Because the fructose or sucrose doubles as fat, it's really a high-fat diet. That's why our diets don't work. And fructose, just like ethanol, for the same reason, through the same mechanism, in the same dosing, is also a toxin. Now, last, what can we do about it? Can we do anything about it? So, fructose is a carbohydrate, yes, it is. But fructose is metabolized like a fat.
There's obviously a lot of research to, back up both sides. I think when you've got everything listed, and there's so much research out there which I'm really encouraging you to do, on why fructose in particular is actually the cause of the illness and the disease and the sickness and the obesity that we have now, which is on the increase, that it's from the sugar. And the fat is almost not a cover-up, but it's almost like they can still create things and say, hey, this is low fat, and they're still going to have that on the market, and people are still going to buy it because we are persuaded into the wrong thinking that that's the healthiest option. In relation to what he said about the alcohol and fructose are the same thing, I know we didn't touch on that yet, that was a bit too far ahead. He has been talking about the way that alcohol, ethanol, is made, is naturally made, and it's processed. The way sugar is made is it's natural and it's processed. He's saying they're the same. And the thing is, once we eat or once we drink the alcohol or eat the sugar, processed is the same way by our body. The only difference is the fact that alcohol is first processed by your brain. So you feel drunk, you feel happy, maybe sad. That's the effect that you get because it's processed through your brain first. Then it goes to your liver for processing. So again, you can get fatty deposits from drinking too much alcohol in your liver, but from having too much sugar, you can get the non-alcoholic version. You don't have to drink alcohol, you just have to eat sugar. With the fructose sugar, the only thing, like I mentioned, which is in your notes, the only thing that can process the sugar is your liver. So the fructose that you're eating goes straight to the liver. The alcohol that you're drinking goes to your brain and then goes to your liver. He's saying they're exactly the same thing. The only difference is the effect that it's having on your brain to give you the feeling of being drunk. And the quote that he said was amazing in the sense of, we would never, you would never think twice to give your child or someone under even the age of 18 a drink of alcohol because we know it's bad for them. And we also go on about don't drink too much alcohol because it's bad for you. But then people go out and they'll just binge on chocolate, on donuts, on ice cream. I've done it. I'm not saying I haven't, but I know from experience. And now I'm learning this. To think I could say, oh, but I don't really drink very much, but I would smash my body with so many chemicals and so many toxins I may as well have been drinking. That was a big thing for me. He sums it up quite nicely in regards to the comparison. He gives you a few dot points on the similarities, between the alcohol and the fructose.
Muscle insulin resistance, obesity, and continued consumption. Looks like metabolic syndrome to me. So here are the phenomena associated with chronic ethanol exposure. Hematologic disorders, electrolyte abnormalities, hypertension, cardiac dilatation, cardiomyopathy, dyslipidemia, pancreatitis, malnutrition, obesity, hepatic dysfunction, that's alcoholic steatohepatitis, fetal alcohol syndrome, and addiction. Here's fructose. 8 out of 12. Why? Because they do the same thing. Because they're metabolized the same way. Because they are the same. They come from the same place, right? How do you make ethanol? Naturally. Right. You ferment sugar. Hasn't changed. Because it has all the same properties. Because it's basically taken care of by the liver in exactly the same way. And for the same reason. Because sugar and ethanol are the same. Every which way you turn. So here's our clinic intervention. This is what we do in our clinic. Okay?
Those points, if you want them, like I said, this link is in your notes, so you can go back and just check. So 8 out of the 12 that he put up there, 12 of the diseases you can get associated with drinking too much alcohol, 8 of those you're going to get the same by having too much fructose. So the fruit, which we've touched on in regard to why it's okay for us to eat fruit, you do have to realise it is still sugar, it is still the fructose that we're trying to avoid and saying that that's what's giving us all these crazy diseases and illnesses. The difference is it contains the fibre, as well as the vitamins and minerals, which are all good for us and they do other amazing benefits. They don't spike the glucose levels as high, which we've we've spoken about, and in regards to not having your insulin levels so high, again, you're going against what he's saying about how that's going to be a risk factor for things like cancer, diabetes. If you're keeping your blood glucose levels stable, we're trying to avoid those things, and that's the best way to do it. Fibre is important. As I mentioned, it prevents illnesses such as bowel cancer. So when you're choosing your fruits, there was a recommendation about for 1 to 2 pieces of fruit per person per day. If you're trying to lose weight, again, everybody's different. I can't tell you what you should be eating, what you shouldn't. I don't think anyone can. I think that one person could react completely differently to somebody else, and their body processes it as well, obviously in a different way. So everybody's different. But on average, if you're trying to lose weight or manage your weight, I would say 1 to 2 pieces maximum. And try to have it during the days that you're still burning off that energy. But please don't think that you can't have fruit because it's got fructose or it's got sugar in it. It's the good sugar. When you're choosing your fruits, you also have to, you can consider the glycemic index and the glycemic load. And there is a link in your booklet, because I didn't want to put up a whole list of foods now, but there's a link in your booklet so you can hopefully go on, and if you're interested in having a look at that, you can then make the best choices if you are going to have a piece of fruit or you are going to have a piece of bread or whatever it is, you can rank it in regards to that. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of information. I don't want to go too far away from the sugar idea, but it is related in regards to glycemic index. Glycemic index measures the quality of the carbohydrate, meaning how much it's going to actually affect your blood sugar level. So if it's got the ratings are 55 or less is low GI, these are in your book. Moderate is 56 to 69 on the ratings, and high GI is 70 or more. That's in relation to how it's going to affect your glucose levels. As I said, we want to keep them at a moderate level. The GL, glycemic loading, that measures not the quality, but it measures the quantity of the carbohydrate. So that means it takes into account the serving size. For example, watermelon has a high GI. So generally, high GI, you'd be like, okay, that's not very good for me, I'm not going to have watermelon with high GI. The difference is, when you look at the GL rating of watermelon, it's quite low due to the small amount of carbohydrates in your serving size. So don't get too caught up in all of that, do your own research, but generally you want to be aiming for low GI, low GL foods and fruits, and they're going to keep you full of that as well. Okay, everyone loves sweets, so I can't say you can never put a sweet thing in your mouth, or I can't try and encourage that. That's how we're going to live. I wouldn't want to live like that. What is going to be the best sugar option, or what's going to be the best sweetness option? Anything with the least or no fructose content, the most that you can get, that's going to be the best. So the top two, stevia and rice malt syrup, are 100% fructose free. In saying that means it generally should be processed as glucose, it can be used as energy, it can be stored as energy, and used for later use as well. In saying that, just because it's glucose doesn't mean you can eat heaps of the stuff. It still will, if you have too much glucose, turn to fat and be stored as fat. Fructose doesn't get that choice. Fructose will, or it will cause health problems. Rice malt syrup. I should have explained. Stevia, if you're not sure about it, you can come in powder or liquid form. And these days they're selling it at Woolworths. It's a natural stevia plant, and what they do is they boil the leaves of the plant, they purify the liquid, filter it, and then they dry it and crystallize it. There's no fructose in the stevia. The rice malt syrup is 100% comes from the fermented rice. So it contains maltose and glucose, no fructose. Mature dates, so they're coming from as a big thing in the fitness industry, in the health industry, as you know, you should sweeten things with dates, and then for me, I got crazy with dates. Like I started thinking, yeah, I can eat as much dates as I want because they're healthy. And then I found out that they're 30% fructose. The difference is they're similar to a fruit. They're in their natural form, which means they've got fibre, vitamins and minerals, if they're generally the mature dates. which you can get from Woolworths now as well. They do have packeted pitted dates in like Woolworths. They're different. They're added sugar generally. So Medjool, it should be written on your papers. 30% fructose, just keep that in mind. It's still, it's an okay one to eat, but we don't want to go crazy just because the health industry says, hey, dates. Maple syrup and honey really surprised me. I was using honey, and I'm not saying I'm never going to use it again, but I'm just going to be aware of the fact that both of those contain 40% fructose. And maple syrup and honey have been promoted as these are the sweeteners that you should be using if training, and this is what's good for you, rather than using white table sugar. White table sugar is 50% fructose. Maple syrup and honey are 40% fructose. There's really not a massive, massive difference when you can have 100% fructose free. In saying that, I'm not saying never to eat that. Honey is a little bit different. If you've got the raw honey, it's going to have minerals and vitamins in it as well. Not the processed honey generally that you get at Woolworths. But if you're buying a raw organic honey, you should be able to get those vitamins and minerals in it as well.